Well, here we are. I don't know what I'm doing, why I'm doing this every time. Oh, these lights are bright. Okay, let's see here. Reset this. I got a bit of the shiny face, guys. Let me see here. Here we are. Let's see. This is Thursday, March 7th, and next Thursday, just letting you know, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be in Pennsylvania, flying out to Pennsylvania, doing a gig out there. I'm looking forward to. Yeah. So nothing really that new going on. Um, hmm. John Thurston is on. He said, test. What are you testing, John? Let's see here. But no, I'm just jumping on for a moment. I won't be on that long. I wanted to bring somebody on today with me, but couldn't get anybody right now. We'll see next week or next time I'm on here. I don't know. Maybe I'll get on at some point next week before Thursday. I'll see. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I was going to get Jimmy McIntosh over here or on the phone. He might call later. We'll see. I really like talking to Jimmy about music, and I'm going to get Jimmy Trippy on here also real soon. Um, Man, he had this really cool guitar. Well, this very nice artisan in Sicily, and I'll let him explain it to you. Built this thing for him, and at the same time, I was working on something myself for him. Of course, it's not a guitar. I'm trying to get it right now. Hang on, real quick. There we go. Sorry about my armpit. Anywho, this is my dedication for Jim, and it's his name, but it's in hieroglyphs, and it has meaning. I swear it does. Just a bunch of symbols, really. Nobody knows, so who cares? Just symbols. Tell people, what they want to hear. But no, I can't believe this thing that was built for him. It's this beautiful guitar made from like the wood of a church, um, in honor of Jim and his grandfather, whose last name was Trippy, and or is Trippy, and put a put a little picture on the neck of his grandfather in honor. So I hope he brings it over, and I'm sure he will whenever he comes in a couple weeks. Hopefully, I can get him over here, and we'll have show and tell. Me and Jim love to talk about things like that. Um, we're going back to farming instruments that came from farm fields. I mean, that's really what instruments they're rooted from farm fields and some of them even from wars and battles and stuff. Um, Joanne gave me a really cool piece. Um, I'll share with you guys if Joanne doesn't mind. So this is a kettle drum. This particular one, wish you could see. Look at that right there. That is blood. I'm quite certain of it because people would use their hand for this type of drum. This is called a hawking drum. And the reason why they call this particular kettle drum, which is made of bronze, and this also comes from the Ottoman Empire. This is a Turkish piece from the Ottoman Empire. And this drum, the reason why they called it a hawking drum was because they used it in battle. They used these to, I'm assuming from what I read about it, to communicate with hawks. They'd train hawks. They were the falconers of their time, and they were in military. I guess they would use them for getting information across the fields, I'm assuming. But this was used to call, and I've never beat on it. I wouldn't dare. This has got to be the original skin for it. But which is really cool. Um, but it makes a high pitch, tinny tone to it. Um, and so that there you go. That was a piece that, and there's your little guy. I guess they would dangle it off the horse, and then pull it up or whatever. However they hung it, I don't know. Maybe I'm incorrect about this piece. If anybody knows what this piece does, I think it is the hanging. I read about it where one would hang it. I don't know how. Would look very painful going against anything. Um, but really neat. And then there's an inscription in Arabic somewhere on here. I can't remember what the inscription meant. I looked it up, but I can't remember what it was. It was some common inscription they would put on these style drums. It's an Islamic inscription, maybe protection or something like that. I don't recall what it was, but it's very neat. I love history. And I love Joanne for this. Thank you, Joanne goes, I got this drum. You might want to just, I don't know, you can pull the skin off. It looks old and worn, but I don't want to do anything to it. No, no. This was well used. And you could see from all of from the dirt, from the grease within it, if you can tell, there's like from someone's hand using, you're going, oh, it's thick. There's blood all over. But that's from the Ottoman Empire. So that would be, geez, when was the Ottoman Empire? They stopped being around, I think, somewhere about not even 200 years ago, 150 years ago. Correct me, I don't know. I need to do more research on the Ottoman Empire, which is another avenue I plan to go down. Thank you, Joanne. Now my hands smell like bronze. And back in those days, they could be mixing, they used to use to mix bronze, from what I read. Of course, alchemists would have their own, blends for bronze and what they would use in the alloy. But typically in bronze, in the old days, they would use, instead of tin, what we use today, mixed with copper, they would use arsenic. 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 Where is my arsenic? And they would use this in a lot of paints also. Arsenic on your periodic table. It's a little metal. Probably should wash my hands, huh? No. The thing is about arsenic is that like mercury and lead, from what I read, I don't know, it's just I read something. It's just what they say. Who are they? But they say arsenic will build up in your system. That's why it's bad for you, like mercury and lead. Sure, I've had my fair share of that. Hence why I might be a little crazy. Too much mercury, too much no, I don't really come in contact with a lot of those things. But I did one time. There's another chemical for you. Here's one. There we are. Copper chloride. Yeah, I got sick on this stuff one time. I didn't take the precautions and I almost died. It was just one of those moments. Didn't have to go to the hospital though. I just dry heaved my way back. Yeah, I might want to use precaution, learn from that. But I'm always doing something with chemicals, so I don't know. I try to get my research on the chemicals and compounds, but boy, in the art world too, you realize when you're mixing liquids of different sorts, you got to get to know what you're doing there, because especially the ancients, man, they had to know what they were messing with, because some of that stuff like arsenic, cyanide, common in paints. Yeah, copper sulfate was another common one. Yeah, so let's see here. Hey, Renee. Let's see, we got a lot. Okay, quite a few people on. Gail, how you doing, baby? Let's see, we got a few. I'm just getting on for a moment here to say I'm still alive. I'm doing I'm doing good. I don't know for what it's worth. Clearly, a few of you find it worth it. Um, Let me see. I won't stay on the whole time this time because I just be honest. I don't have that much to say at the moment, but I can sing a song for you. Let me see here. Show you something that maybe I'm working on. Sorry about that. I left you there for a minute. Oh, wait, somebody's calling. Let's see who this is. Oh, it's Jimmy Mac. Jimmy, how you doing, man?
Hey, Michael, what's going on?
I'm just sitting here on my guitar, about to play a song for a few people that are watching right now. For those who want to join for my moment of whatever. What are you doing?
I was just want to call and say hello. I know we have our Mardi Gras gig coming up pretty soon, and
that is
just wanted to
you're trying
shoot the bull.
You're trying to plug our Mardi Gras gig. Is it really? Is it coming up? We're doing Mardi Gras already?
Yeah, Mardi Gras. Well, it's going to be
wait.
It's post Mardi Gras, but I think our New Orleans show is like
right. We're doing the post Mardi Gras celebration.
The end of the month.
Yeah, at the end of the. Do you remember what date that is? I know it's.
I don't have it. I'm driving, so
don't look for it right now. Yeah. Okay. No.
It might be that it's like in the 20s, at the 27th, around then, but it's at the Smith Center, sure.
Well, you know what's interesting. I love the Smith Center, man, because it really does give us as musicians and artists a place to go to. But But we're kind of like, what's going on right now with that, man? A lot of people here in town. How's work going on your end right now? I know you're working with Perico here and there, right? Dave Perico.
Well,
what else are you?
We did some corporate thing for this corporate. It was a company that's like, or almost like a club of all the amusement park executives of the world, like from Disney to Six Flags to you name it, like internationally. And I did something, and I saw Lucy there. She was working on that. But that was like a corporate. It was a really great.
Right, they've been calling Lucy, my wife, for wearing like multiple hats at some of these corporate events. So she's, she said she saw you on an event. I guess one where you were playing. I think where Jimmy Buck. I talked to Jimmy Trippy. I talked to him about that also. He's sort of in on that scene too with the corporate gigs and stuff.
He's more in the Dave Perico band than me, because it's Stephen Lee, who's a great guitar player, Jimmy Trippy, and then when one of those two can't make it, I'll come in. So that's not my regular gig, but it's always great. But then I started playing Vegas, the show, this production show at the Planet Hollywood. I do that like 5 nights a week.
What is Vegas, the show now? Explain it to me a little bit.
It's like an old style Vegas production show. It's got like 8 girl dancers, or sometimes there'll be showgirls, and then what they do is it's not an impersonator show like Legends in Concert. They'll reference the different periods of Vegas showbiz, like Louis Prima, and they'll do like Jump, Jive, and Wail, or the Can, like a French can with all the girls dancing like the Lido.
Louis Prima, that's interesting. He was huge growing up in New Orleans, where I'm from. Him and Sam Butera, he's like part of that scene, that those New Orleans Italian guys, right? Or Sicilian guys. But
it's like an Italian swing.
Yeah, and it's big down there. Jimmy Prima played drums with I know Louis Jr.'s cousin. Where's Louis Jr.? Have you seen him? I knew he was around.
No, I don't know. I don't know him at all. Now, Now, then that show, it'll go through the Rat Pack, Elvis, but they're not impersonate. They're not lookalikes. They're just doing the songs. But it's good. It's really cute the way they do it.
I want to say I've seen it like years ago. It's been around Vegas, the show, right?
Yeah, it's been around.
I think I've
seen
it.
Like 12 years.
Who plays drums?
The drums are Mikey Marino.
He's been playing with it since the beginning. Yes, I have seen the show. I saw it probably maybe like 10 years ago. That's why.
He's a great drummer.
Oh, I love Mikey Marino, man. What a great drummer, great ears, man.
Yeah, and the band it's Five Horns. They're all great musicians, and they're all really good, nice. They're all good guys.
Who plays bass? I know Rickenbacker was playing bass, or some.
Jeff Zen.
That's who plays bass. My God, why did I know Rickenbacker? What do you mean Rickenbacker, Mike? No.
He's a great bass player.
Yeah, Zen. No, of course Zen is. I love Jeff. Yeah. No,
you know what the nice thing about this gig is you have a lot of freedom to sub out. So anytime you have a gig, I've got like 3 subs, and I sub out to play with you.
See, this is what viewers don't understand. Musicians, we always have to have our subs, and these are people that we depend on, and they depend on us too. We scratch each other's backs in this respect. Therefore, the work can keep going and coming in for all of us that way, and keeps the machine moving for everybody that way.
Like Earl Campbell, Earl still will play with you, right, when he can do it, but he's Donny Osmond's musical director, so he's got.
Don't blame, and he's also MD for Donny. I didn't know that. Earl didn't tell me he was MD for it, but that makes sense,
If he isn't, but he is now. So
that's good. Yeah, no, what I love about Earl, and I know you love this about drummers when they come in the band, in particular, that when they take control, not in an egotistical way, but one of confidence, it really, you realize how much the drummer is the backbone of the band, not just the beat, but he is the glue. He or she holds the band together, and without that drummer, I mean, even in the moments of where songs start and end, they are the timekeepers. And when they,
the foundation of the building, that's the
absolutely for the music for the style of music that we do, which is American folk rock, and blues and stuff. The drums, it's all glued around that. And without the drums and of course the bass, man, you got to have the bass and the drummer. They always have to get along. I've always been like, if a bass player wanted to work with a specific drummer or vice versa. People don't know that, but you got to kind of let them, because if the bass drummer and the bass and the drummer are not getting along in any way musically or whatever, it's not going to work, man.
They have to make it sound great. They have to respect each other. They have to play together.
A musical respect,
Yeah.
Because
you've always had great drummers. Well, Earl is just unbelievably. Jim Buck has been doing a killer job playing your stuff on drum. He's so talented. He plays every instrument.
Jimmy Trippy has been playing for me like guitar for years. And I get hung up too. I keep calling him Buck too, but Trippy. And I tell you, through all the years, I thought he was just a guitarist. Because he plays it so freaking perfectly and excellent and soulful, and then he then he gets behind a piano one time, and then he
sings his ass off.
Then he sings his butt off. Then he he played bass for me for a while, and then he did a gig on keys, and then he played drums, and then I'm like, Jim, what do you not play? He goes, well, man, I'm trying to do it. He goes, well, I got a master's in drums, man. I'm going, what? You got a master's in drums? It was his main instrument all along, and I knew him over a decade and didn't know this until then.
But doing your stuff, not everybody's going to be. Your stuff is so earthy, which is what I love about playing with you. Is the stuff that you do that other lounge guys in lounges wouldn't do that material. I never heard anybody in Vegas do Neville Brothers until you.
Well, you know the thing, they told me everybody would hire me, these entertainment directors. I'd go, you know how the ordeal is. What we do is we go out and we'll make the rehearsal for entertainment or an agent or whatever, just to get them your promo package or your showcase for your band in some cases. I would always do what they wanted.
Ooh, I might cut out. I'm in the airport tunnel for a minute. I might cut out, so hopefully not. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll cut it in.
No, I'm messing with you. Can you still hear me?
10 seconds.
Okay, it is messing up now. Anywho, yeah, no, but yeah, where were we? I don't even know. I get so sidetracked.
You were saying agents were telling you about.
Oh, I just do what I just tell them what they want to hear. I always have told them what they wanted to hear to get my gig, because I knew once I did my gig, I was going to do what I wanted anyway. Sorry, agents, if you go to book me and you're watching this, but I always do what I wanted to do. And people liked it. They responded better to the stuff that I believed in than the stuff that, you know, brick house and play that funky music, you know, the standard shit, you know, and I just was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I never did that, you know, never did that.
You're one of the best soul roots singers in the world, really.
Well, the thing, it's not that I'm incredible. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, I try to keep it in that ballpark because it works the best for me. That's all that I realize.
Roots, whether it's soul or country or rock, blues rock, but earthy stuff, you're like all about the earthy.
If I can't believe in the song, you know, I can't really sell it. It's just not. It's not going to work. I'm just another singer, you know, and for that, I don't mind being just another singer, and I love being.
You're not just another singer. Anybody that hears you is like.
But I think if there's anything different that I have to offer, it's that I do it my way. You know, I'll take the song and do it my way. Some people say, "Oh, you sound just like so and so when you do it." Sometimes when I'm doing a song, I'll dig in. I don't tend to try to impersonate anyone, though.
No, you don't. I think you make it your own. You're on.
I try to make it believable. Yeah, just speak it.
You're not a like. There's a lot of good singers when they sing a style. They're imitating a style, but with you, it's authentic. That's what separates you. That's what I always.
It's what it is, and you know what's happening right now is I'm realizing that what we do, you and I, as the folk American style music that we do, Americana, we're sort of the last of this, and I keep saying this because it's being told to me by the peers that you and I look up to, also, like Bill Medley and others, you know, that are like, you know, this is the last of real live music. What I bring to the table, what you do, and what I do, and the ones that we work with, I can guarantee any listener out there, if you come and listen to us as a group, especially, we're not playing to any tracks. There is not even a click track. I allowed one drummer to do that one time in my band for a while, and I hated that because it just wasn't like, it wasn't that it was more like tracked out in sort of a way and timed out. Like, I don't like that. Sometimes I like to extend the song, you know, or you know, I don't like confining the moment, because the moment is what one would consider the art, right? I mean, we're creating something live in front of you.
Sure, and one night you might want to pick up the tempo or pull it back,
and you might want to move it around. If one needs a click track to maintain the groove, then go ahead. I don't mind that if you're not stepping in front. But they usually, you know, people with clicks will have to have the show in order, which is a problem when you're working with me, because I don't tend to go in any specific order. And like, that's why I love working with you guys, because for the years we've been working together, we know each other so well, and it's just like, that's what works.
Yeah, that's part of the fun of it for me and the music and the other guys is like, is like you don't know exactly what's going to happen. Anything can happen. That makes it fun, and it's not going to be boring. You got to be ready for anything, which I enjoy that. Like you might point to me to take a solo here, like I'm not expecting it. Okay,
and I like some people get really edgy, and they're little, and a lot of my peers and colleagues, they get a little weirded out by my looseness, I guess, when it comes to that. But I put myself around situations where I do like to promote the realness and not the rehearsed stuff, because I've noticed that, look, I can't act, first off, and I'm horrible with a rehearsed situation. I like to feed off the crowd, and I like to break any walls down, as you notice, with the crowd as soon as I can.
You just dropped that. Yeah.
Well, I was just saying I like to break that wall down in front of the crowd,
I agree.
And by showing the human side, and I'll purposely make a fumble, and some people don't get that. Some of my colleagues don't get it till this day when I'm doing it, and I'm like, "Hello, you know me well enough. You should know what I'm saying, what I'm meaning right now, because there's some things that you're not supposed to do and say, but your colleagues are supposed to know these certain things and pick up on it. Most of you guys all get it. Most everybody gets it, and we all understand that. But it's in dying art, and it's it's all becoming digital.
I love the looseness. I love it. I love that aspect where
it's real.
And click tracks are good for a show or more, dance music and it's pop music. But for earthy music, organic music, I don't think a click track's a good idea. Just want to have a
earthy music, and nobody like Jimmy Mack to talk about earthy music, because you're one of those that love that sound, man. For you are good friends with Ronnie Woods, right? And Ronnie, boy, you want to talk about rootsy Americana music, like those guys own that sound.
Coming from England,
I know, of all places, he sounds
like he crawled out of a Mississippi or Louisiana swamp.
No, a lot of people might be going, "Oh my, that's not a," no, Americana is a really, if you want to own Americana, who owns Americana? The British. To me, they do, because they, for all of that, look at Ronnie and all of that Small Faces material that was done, even his own work. All very like Gasoline Alley sort of stuff, man. It's just really rootsy.
That's just great.
Yeah.
And then I got to record with him two separate sessions for 2 CDs and watch how he worked, and it was totally loose. I mean,
dude, when I get around those guys, go ahead.
Oh, so he was going to overdub playing on my CD, so he had his amp set up with a mic on the amp, and then no headphones. So we're not 15 feet away from the amp were the playback speakers. So I thought, okay, they're recording Ronnie, but you're going to hear some of the playback of the original track leaking into his guitar amp.
These days are coming to an end, though, man. When I went to Mike Campbell's house, it was the same thing. Walls of guitars and instruments, and then he pulls out this one instrument I never even heard of. What's that thing called? Zerdy, or what is it called?
A Gertie.
Okay, it looks like a violin that lays down, and it's got a resin wheel that you roll. You rotate this wheel, and it hurdy-gurdy. That's it.
Oh, hurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy-gurdy. Yeah, never heard of such an instrument. These guys pull it out in the studios. You would never know. Like, this is how the creation process goes. It gets on a lot of people's nerves that aren't in that world when they're around people in the creative process. Because, people like Kenny Arnoff, he goes outside and he grabs a plastic drum from the back alley. He just takes a trash bag out, empties it, brings it in, a plastic drum.
Wow.
Brings it in and puts some wooden sticks, like the brush sticks, but wood. I forget what you call. Uses them for one of the songs, and you look at them and you go, "Well, that's crazy." Most people are just like, "That's not even. Why aren't you taking that endorsement over there?" Waddy Wachtel, the same thing. Just not any not, he just does not like going through any inputs or any effects through his
No
system.
effects. Yeah.
Straight into the
Yeah.
1976 or 78. I can't remember which special Marshall amp that he
Wow.
has to
Yeah,
do that.
that's amazing. That looseness, seeing that looseness with Ronnie, it was really eye-opening. So I thought, yeah, so if the playback bleeds into his guitar amp, so what? That's kind of like the wall of sound, the Phil Spector thing, where everything bleeds into each other.
Yeah, and
makes it more organic.
that's exactly it. When they're trying to
Yeah.
isolate all the sounds today, especially live, that's when it really gets bad. But
yeah, when people get so, but then it becomes more still. No, you can't have any of this.
you know, but when you're in the
everything's
studio,
isolated.
I realized, man, that was a thing we were trying not to do when I was working with Don Was, and I love that he was on that same page, and even putting people in the same room. Like, I mean, like they didn't isolate everything as much. They did isolate the drums, but I mean, like the guitarists were all in the same room, in the big room together with amps and all. You know, just going. They were isolating it a little bit with walls and whatnot, partitions, whatnot. Yeah, but but they weren't so much concerned. They were doing it the old school way, like at least like the thing that started dying before the 90s started approaching, you know.
Because I'm sure you and I, we've been in the studio where, like, okay, the guitar, you have to be in a separate room. We can't have any leakage whatsoever. They're all paranoid about it.
Yeah, and it gets too paranoid, and it starts showing, because you know, live music has to feed on each other. The artists have to, you have to make it feel like what they do is they piece it all together in studios. They don't get the backbone, that bass and drums together, moving first. They'll just add. I watched guys just go in and lay down drums and then come in. Let's just lay down drums to a click track, nothing else. I literally watched this, and then come in and then just come in like Stevie Wonder and just start laying a bass, and then come in laying his guitar, all him, watching this shit with my watching this going on, and to one of my songs, you know. Brilliant. This guy was brilliant though, but he made it sound, he made it sound like it was a band that was actually feeding on each other. At least it was convincing enough, because he was feeding on his previous tracks, but they weren't feeding off of anything except for the groove that he had going. It's very interesting, you know, how that works, but that in itself is being jeopardized. You know, you see a few people on the strip doing this thing with and I find it an interesting art to be able to use those pedals with acoustics and stuff. You've seen the guys, they'll get a groove going, they'll record it, and then I'll push a pedal in it, then I'll play to what they just recorded, you know, and it's all
like a loop,
like loops, and it's all live.
That's kind of cool. I know.
Yeah, when you can do it, because I tried it, man. That's not, you got to get it down, you know.
Yeah, I've not done it, but this John Scofield, this famous jazz guitar player who bends strings, he'll give concerts of him and a looper, but he does it in a creative way. He's improvising the parts,
and that is what's entertaining. Now those guys are hanging on to the last bit of what is live though. And for what I do acoustically, I tried doing that at home one time, but I said no, I just keep it to what I know, and I keep it that way, and that is no effects at all. Sound men, listen to me if you're on here. I don't want any effects on my voice at all. No compressor, no compression, no limiter, no nothing. I'm a raw singer. I want it to be like I'm sitting on my porch, because that's where I learned. You know.
Sure. Yeah. Oh well, you're great at that. Yeah, sure. But yeah, that's why. I mean, the first time I played a gig with you was 7 years ago. It was after Lon Bronson did an Allman Brothers tribute or a Greg Allman tribute, one of the two, and then you were a guest on a couple of tunes, and then we met, and then after that, and then I said, if you ever need a guitar player, and I said, I'm sure you don't, because you have Jim, you have John, and etc. And it turned out you said, well, I might need somebody in a couple of weeks. So that's how I was so glad that I went up to you, because otherwise.
Yeah, because Bill Medley took John Wiedemeyer at the time, and took John Wiedemeyer. John Wiedemeyer, but and John went to play with him, and then I was like, yeah, that was I remember that, because that was a perfect moment when you asked. Like
Yeah.
it was one of
No,
those
I
moments.
know. I'm
Had you
so
not
glad
mentioned it, it wouldn't
because
have
I
happened.
wasn't going to ask, but I thought, oh, I won't ask because I know I think
Well, I
you're well
always wanted
said.
to
But
work with you. So to me at that moment, I was like, bam. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Yes.
oh, I
You
was
couldn't have
yeah.
asked a
Then
more
yeah,
perfect
I
time.
was so happy with that to start working with you.
Because when
And
I
yeah.
first came to town, I got on stage with you was one of my first was Lon. Lon
Yeah.
Bronson. I would go out and see Lon and I would see Eddie Joe Gongri over at the Sand Dollar. And
Uh-huh.
I'll go see you guys. You were at the Stardust
Or the Riviera.
or the Riviera, yeah.
Yeah,
The
for about 10
Riviera
years.
at the
Yeah. Yeah, I
time,
remember
yeah.
you coming down. You came down with Dave.
Dave Hart.
Yeah, Dave Hart. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Dave. I remember Dave told me, he goes, yeah, he was really impressed with you. He told me about you.
What happened was when I got to town, man, it was difficult trying to put that band together. I got with the late, what's his name? Keyboardist passed away. Man, why am I not thinking right now? Um mm, oh man, that's been over 20 years ago,
Was
man.
he in your band, the keyboard player?
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember names right now, but he passed away a long time ago. But God bless him. It'll hit me when I get off. Anyway, but all these guys have pulled together, and then Dave Hart. I think he had just moved out from L.A. or something. He was just kind of getting word around. Mike Meacham was in the band with me.
Mike Meacham.
And Mike knew Dave, and I think he got him on board. And Dave was a little hesitant at first because I was new to town. And I was trying to get work, and I remember getting this gig at Caesars remember the La Piazza?
Yeah.
And I got this gig at the La Piazza there with this band, and to get it, I had to dress up in the chicken suit, man, and had to sing all the funky music stuff for the rehearsal part of it.
Wow.
But when it came to playing on stage, it was no. Let's wait on that one. That's the way I kept doing it. Okay, let's push that one later, that song. Let's push that one. Wait, no, the entertainment director is not in here. We'll push it over here.
Wow.
I remember
meeting
the agent's not in.
You sang with us. But yeah, Dave told me like he was really knocked out by us. He was like, yeah, I might like stick with this guy. I think he can go someplace. He was kind of telling me that kind of thing. Basically.
Well, if anything, I mean, there's a lot of singers, right? If anything, but I had one thing going for me was I was just blindly walking into the dark. We don't know where he's going, but he's walking. That's all he's going forward. There maybe something happen with me or not, but thanks for being a part of it. That was early Campbell just was beeping in. I gotta call him.
But yeah, I remember, I was certainly aware of you, and then some guys I worked with were occasionally working with you. In the back of my mind, I was like, man, I'd like to work with Michael because I love all the music you do. And then finally the chance happened, and it was like, it's been over 7 years, close to 7.5 years.
And I'm sort of that way. I've been blessed though, having to work with you and all the guys that I have been able to work with.
But you've had some great guys go through your band and.
Look, it's been awesome, right? I've had some awesome people come through. Just working with them is awesome. And I'm going, well, how's this work? Well, it's all because, once you work with one of you guys, I mean, that's the class of musicians that I'm going to work with. There's no way I'm going to backtrack that one. I learned that one when I was younger, man. When I was growing up in Mississippi, I would place, seasoned musicians around me, which tend to be older than me, all the guys.
Well, that's the thing about you too. You're not just you're a great singer, not to butter you up, but you're an excellent in the pocket group guitar player. You're a musician besides being, because we know there's some singers that sing great that don't really know that much about music per se, the building blocks of chords and bass parts, but you're a musician, so you got the whole package. So if you can describe to the
I can speak the language. That was the thing, the nomenclature. How can I get respect from other musicians? Well,
you're a musician, so you can't.
Well, at first I wasn't though, and I was putting myself around them, and they didn't even I couldn't play guitar at the time when I had my first
Well,
band.
You're a fine guitar player. What you play, you're so in the pocket. Your time is great. Your feel is great. So
I know what I need to know. You know what I mean by that. I know what I need to know. Now, you know more than I do because you have to know more than I do. You teach. For
well, I went to
Christ's sake.
school and I had to learn. I learned to read music. So I thought if I'm going to just make a living as a guitar player, I have to play a lot of different stuff and be able to read and do this and that. And,
Yeah.
But your playing is you play great. I mean, you're in the pocket. I always have. I love it when we play solos and you and I start having a conversation.
I know, right? I got to get back into that.
Yeah,
I got to get back into that. For a moment, I fell out of playing. I need to get my chops back up.
Yeah,
and just
they'll
play
come
when I
back
know.
in a hurry. Yeah, Michael, I gotta run.
Hey, man, you go run. I love you.
Love you too.
All right,
my friend. So I'll see you soon. I'll see you in a couple of weeks or so.
I'll see you then.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Sounds great. All right. Have a good day.
Talk to you later. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. So that was Jimmy McIntosh just helping me out. I guess he didn't know, but he did. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going off to Pennsylvania. I'm getting ready for that. I really can't wait to see everybody out there, but I do not want to go through this airport and do that whole thing. I know. But it's just where's the bar? That's where I want to stay away from. But they're everywhere. So I just got to get through it. Let's see. Guys, I really don't know. There was something I'm working on. I will do it next time. I really don't want to present it now. I've got like a verse and a chorus going, but I don't want to present it now. And no, don't worry. It's long been copywritten. But it's something that I'm bringing back to the surface and touching on. Anyway, and I'll play some of that for you next time, and I'll try to get maybe I'll have someone over next time on so I can talk to. And I love you guys. Thank you all. We got a Baton Rouge. We got Renee Levine from Baton Rouge. And, c'est les bon temps roulé. And here's what I have to say to you. Well, it's getting late in the afternoon, y'all. Oh, and I bide my time. So won't you give me 2 more, Mr. Bartender? 'Cause I got a whole lot on my mind. I'm going back to Louisiana, to that girl I left behind. Well, she's my kind of woman, she's just my size. She knocks me out the way she looked me in the eye. Going back to Louisiana, to that girl I left behind. Well, I've been to Memphis, and I've been to Kansas City too, but never met a woman who could love me like you do. Now going back to Louisiana, to that girl I left behind. Well, she used to live in Shreveport, but then she moved. Bet you didn't want she gonna dance on roofs. I won't live it up
if you know what I mean, honey. If I have to go as far as New Orleans, it's been fine talking to you, but you know that I've got to find my soul and bone and move on down that line, going back to Louisiana, to that girl I left behind. I'm going back to Louisiana, to that girl I left behind. I'm going back to Louisiana, to that girl I left behind. Yeah.
See you next time, guys. Thank you.